Hello. On this corner of the internet, we are doing knitting and crocheting things usually. Sometimes also other things, but not that much, to be honest. And in this video, we are going to do the Sophie hood. The Sophie hood, I think, kind of made its rounds a while ago as well. It is a very popular pattern by Petite Knits. I made a video about a camisole. It was called camisole number 5, and I accidentally kind of assumed it was from Petite Knits, but it was from My Favorite Things Knitwear. If you come across that video, I changed the title, but it was my mistake. I have in the past made kind of like a Frankenstein Sophie scarf because I wasn't entirely sure if I was gonna really enjoy the pattern, but turns out I really do. I feel like I'm like a floating head with the black background as well. That's the best I can do now, okay? Back to the Sophie hood. So I bought the pattern after I finished my Frankenstein Sophie scarf, which is literally the smallest scarf on human earth. It is like this big. I bought the pattern for 2 reasons. First of all, as I mentioned, I love it. The other reason why is because CJ has been hinting towards wanting a scarf hood. This is the perfect opportunity for me to also make one for him. However, he likes kind of more like a pointy hood rather than the shaping of the Sophie hood. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do the exact same pattern, but when it comes to the decreases in the back, upper back of the head, I'm just not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna leave it kind of straight. I had 2 types of yarns in mind already, one being an incredibly beautiful red. I think it was an alpaca mix for CJ. However, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go rummage through my yarn stash and see if there is something I can use for him. And for the exact same reasons as well, I am gonna use these ones for the actual Sophie hood. So I'm gonna start with these ones, gifted by my friend. Thank you, Lisa. I already used the tiniest bit of one of them for a pair of shorts I made in the summer last year. So I'm gonna stop talking now and I'm gonna start with the project. It's the middle of the night. Well, it's like 9 p.m. The lighting's shit. I do apologize. I do not have those light boxes things to make it all look as if it's still daytime. I do not own them, but I do still own this light. Let's talk about the Sophie hood and any updates so far. I have my notes here. I finally got myself a notebook just for my projects because in the past I would write them down anywhere and it would just be very chaotic, and I thought it would probably be a good decision to keep it all in one place. I have nearly reached the point of doing the hood. I still need to do 5 more increase rounds, so it will be a bit broader because this doesn't really look wide enough in my opinion so far, but I'm still not there. In terms of how fast this worked up, I would say this is on the more faster side of projects simply because it's a very repetitive design. Now, as for differences to my Frankenstein Sophie scarf, I have noticed one major difference in particular, which is the I-cord. This pattern calls for a different type of I-cord than the one that I used to do. The one that I did was knit 1, slip 1, knit 1 on one side, and then on the other side slip 1, knit 1, slip 1. In this pattern, it asks you to do it a bit differently. For the rest of the night, since it's already a bit late, I'm probably not going to do much, but I do believe that maybe in the next day or 2, I will at least have reached the hood part, depending on how much time I have. have done absolutely nothing today, but I don't want to think about it too much because it makes me sad. And also it makes me feel very guilty because there are things that I need to have done. For instance, I need to have an assignment to submit and I had all day to do it, but I didn't. Which is great. I love that. That's amazing. However, I did have I suppose kind of productive knitting day yesterday as I was on a bit of a road trip for a while. So in the car I did a bit of knitting, at least before I got car sick. And I need to do 2 more rows, I believe, and then I have the decrease round of the hood finished, meaning I can then go on and start the other side of the hood. Instead of doing what I need to do, which is the assignment, I think I'm going to... no, I think I am actually going to... See, the thing is, I have food on the way, and this is another thing that is very, very bold of me to do. I should not order food if I have food at home. But I am alone at home tonight, and I'm not gonna cook for myself. We haven't ordered food to the house in so long that I'm making an exception. I think the best thing I could do is to actually do my assignment in the time that the food takes to arrive rather than knitting. Because it's due tonight. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna go back here. I think my food is supposed to arrive in like 20 minutes. It's not, I think it's gonna take me a bit more than 20 minutes to submit the assignment, but at least I have a head start, you know? Guys, starting off very well over here. I just need you to see this. Why is it so dark, first of all? Like, it's actually not that dark in here. What's going on? Anyway, I literally just sat down with my tea. I have my chocolates. I have my show. By the way, I'm watching Percy Jackson, the TV series. I'm actually really liking it. I was very skeptical because, I don't know, it's I don't think like I'm the target audience for it, but basically I finished up the very first skein, so this is a new one, and I'm trying to find the place where I can start off. So I have to start here, and I start pulling. Tell me why it's pulling from the center, but simultaneously from the outside as well. What if I pull this? Wait a sec. Maybe that's... I might as well just try pulling from the center then. If I can't pull from the outside, I can't get it out. And if I feel what's happening, this is literally a big mess. I don't know what's going on. It seems like I have the outside pull now, so that's fine. But what the hell? I'm just trying to relax, okay? I'm just... Like, knitting is supposed to be a chill, fun thing. Anyway, I have it now as a little update. Also, now that we're here, I guess, this is where we're at. Absolutely nothing can be seen at all with this lighting, so that's great. Quick update. I have most of it done now, which is crazy because at some point when I was doing the hood, it felt like it was taking ages and I would never see the end of it, but it's actually working out pretty nice now. And this is how it's looking so far. I think it's so cute. The thing is, obviously now the weather is getting a lot better, so I don't think that I'll have a lot of use of this, but I'm thinking of giving it away to my friend whose yarn this actually is, so we're gonna come full circle and maybe she'll find some wear out of it. Is that what you say? I don't know what I have thoughts in my head that I want to say, but somehow it's not coming out right. I don't know how much I'm gonna get done today, to be honest, because I have a few things that I need to do. For instance, I need to do the laundry, I need to do some studying, and I need to do... I think that's kind of it. So not too much. I'll sit down at some point today and get some done, but probably not too much. Next time I'll update, I might already be done with it, and I can start on the next one.
And it's coming out like a big loud fart. weekend's coming, we'll stop wanting you.
It's looking cute. I love it so far. I had a few doubts while knitting it because of the yarn. If I compare it to my Frankenstein Sophie scarf, which is essentially the same right now, this is a lot more airy. Now, I completely failed at taking this apart. I don't know what this yarn's problem is, because every single time I try to unravel it, it gets caught and I kind of have to pull the fibers apart, and I do not have the patience for that right now. So I decided to put all this back in here, and I am actually gonna start knitting from the outside. This is how far I've gotten. Not too bad. I still need to do a few more rounds before I can start the hood. I have this really cheap ring light that I got on Amazon, and it is a bit broken. It has those 3 light settings: warm, neutral, and cool toned, and sometimes if you just move a tiny bit, it changes the lighting, and then it just, yeah, it does what it wants. This is why I prefer to film during daytime. But today I am actually gonna take a tiny bit of a break. I have a bit of a side quest. It's I think the only side quest for this video. But today I'm bringing out my cottons for crochet. We don't have the green now because I feel a bit sad and I just want to do something cute. I had a look at the hobby website. I tend to go to the hobby website for patterns a lot. I want to do a cute little Frodo frog. I just think that one looks so ridiculous, which is why I want to do it. I was actually in my head, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do like 20 little things, but I'm probably not going to do 20 different amigurumis. That's just not going to happen. I hope that I have enough because this one looks a bit big. Also, I forgot I'm in the middle of making a tea. 1 second. This is one of my favorite mugs. When I got it, CJ was asking me if it's a reference to Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I just thought it was a very cool mug. Like, okay, I'm gonna start with this green, and I'm just gonna pray that this is gonna last for the entire pattern. So, how has your life been? Yeah, I see. Well, I have been quite stressed. I have a lot of tests and assignments and exams to worry about, but that's just how it is. I feel like I also haven't been having many good shows to watch because I'm very picky with shows. Just recently, I watched Percy Jackson. When I was younger, I read most of the books, not all of them. I think at some point it was just kind of getting too much. I was very surprised that it was very accurate to the book. If you remember, if you've ever watched the films and you also read the books, you know that the films, they just do whatever they want. I think they're kind of inspired by the books, but they're not actually taking it seriously. That's kind of how it felt like. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend watching it. And apparently this year, the series is gonna release the 2nd season. As per nowadays, everything takes about 3 years for the next season. It's actually insane. Do you know what? I think I'm gonna update you at some later stage on how this is going, because it appears to me that I cannot count in my head and simultaneously talk. I guess my brain is not made for most things in life, but I was already aware of that. I never really crochet with a hook this small. That's such a lie. I literally... Sometimes I just say things without actually thinking about what I'm saying, and then as soon as they're out, I realize that I'm just not making sense. I'm also assuming that it's gonna turn out very wonky, but that just gives it character. That being said, I'm gonna stop yapping now, and I'll see you in the next update. This is all I have. I actually did do some today as well, so this is not going very fast. I don't know why I was expecting it to go so fast, to be honest, because it's a big project. So now I have this little dome. Do you know what I was thinking though? I was thinking that maybe I will just finish this little blob and make it the body of the frog, and then crochet really small little ears and arms and legs, and then call it a day. I don't know. I made a very fitting iced matcha latte. It tastes okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the taste always, but yeah, I'll drink it. I'm about to go to bed, but I just want to give you a quick update on how this is going. A few things actually. The first thing is, I think I mentioned this already before, but this yarn is a bit thinner than the yarn that I used in this one. And at first I didn't really think too much of it, but now that I have reached a certain length, I think you can really tell that it's a bit thinner and you can kind of see through it. I've officially reached the point in the pattern where I could just move on and do the hood. However, I just compared it to the other one that I have finished here. This is how much smaller it is. Another thing, I don't know how I feel about this, but this is the very first blue streak in this entire yarn. This entire rest is just purples, reds, and yellows, and a bit of orange. But I see a lot of blue in here. For now, I am going to just continue increasing until I reach the same width as that one. And I think it also says in the pattern actually that the most important thing is more that it fits properly rather than just having the right amount of stitches, which I do agree with. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go to bed now. It's like past 1 o'clock in the morning. I finished the hood, and as per my boyfriend's request, I didn't do any decreases at the very top because he wanted it to be pointy. It's cute, to be honest. I mean, I see the vision. I think it's such a beautiful pattern. I'm just not sure why I decided to knit two right after each other, simply because this pattern it's not like super engaging, you know. I can knit while I'm not paying attention. Well, that's actually not true, because it does happen to me more often than not that I forget to either increase or decrease. On the second side of the hood where you were decreasing into the point again, I started increasing at first, so I had to go back a few rounds. I think that was just kind of like habits, because you know, you're doing all the increases on one side. Another thing that also I keep noticing, and I'm just not sure how I feel about it, is that the edge is not as nice and straight as it could be. It's the same with the other one actually. I think it's because of the way that these I-cords are knit in the pattern. It could also be that it's just my style of knitting that makes it not so neat. The yarn is proper tangled now. This is what I'm working with. This fell out of this, and currently I'm pulling the yarn from, I honestly don't really know. And then there's that. Finally, the Sophie hoods are done.
This is too much.
Yeah, it's summer. The first obvious point to mention is that there's not much use in those Sophie hoods now anymore. Yeah, that was not well planned out. The pattern itself is very easy to follow, as it is a very easy pattern. You know, there's not much that you can do wrong. I did do something wrong. The length of the two ends are different lengths, and I think this kind of adds up to one repetition. So what I might have done wrong is when I started knitting on the other side of the hood, I might have just forgot to decrease immediately, or I don't know, I'm not so sure. But the funny thing is the same thing happened on this hood. Even though I have my notes here of what I want to talk about, I'm kind of all over the place. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, I think one thing that I've mentioned before as well is the seam at the back of the hood that you kind of have to, you know, sew yourself. I did it very, very horribly on the first one, to the point where there's a little indent here as well. I kind of folded it inside out and then sewed it together, and now you have a bit of a booty crack. Or at least I attempted to do the mattress stitch, and it worked not so well on that one. It worked better on this one, but I did do a mistake here and there, because you can kind of see right in that spot there. I'll put like a circle on it. You can kind of see the thread that I used to seam it up, which you wouldn't notice if the yarn wasn't variegated. The point itself is also not the most pointy, I have to say, but that is probably because when you wear it, this kind of bends to the shape of your head, and then you have a little swoop and then the little point at the end. And the last thing I wanted to say is that even though this kind of felt like an easy to do project, I felt really bored towards the end of it. That's not to say that the project was any bad. It's because my brain gets bored when I have to do the same thing over and over again, which is probably why I have about 10 different projects that I'm working on at the same time, just because like I need a bit of change here and there as well. And the most exciting part of this pattern is the hood decreasing and increasing, and that's only at the top part here. Overall, I am already seeing myself doing this entire project again, this time in black for myself, because I actually really enjoy how that worked out. I think it's beautiful. I am just, in general, just the look of it, I think is kind of has, CJ also mentioned it kind of has something medieval about it, and I think that's what I also like. I think his words were something about like a peasant in the medieval times could wear it, or something like that, which I thought that was a very funny way of putting it. That's all I have to say. I think I have rambled quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, again, don't know when exactly it will be. At some point, probably this summer. I'll see you there, and have a nice summer until then. Okay, bye.